Hey, hey, welcome to another Tuesday of Tuesday Talk with Deanna. I'm so excited to be back, and I have one of my dear friends who we have done lives together countless amounts of time. I'm not even sure. Dennis Schiraldi with DOYO Live Digital Marketing. How are you doing, Dennis?
Great, Deanna. Great to be back here. Kind of feel like I forget what it was like. When we grew up with Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers, like there was a substitute at times, and then somebody was always on. So yeah, it's good to be back, and I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, always. It's always a
Although
good
this is
conversation.
I think this is the first I'm coming on the new
The Tuesday
podcast.
Talk.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, that went through a name change, but just the live stream, it's still there. But I went to podcasting only, and I like the live streaming. I like the
exactly.
live streaming a lot more, and yeah, I just like it more. So, anyhow, I'm so excited that you're here. What have you been up to lately? What's new and
Bas-
exciting? I know you've got
ba-
baseball in your life.
yeah. It's baseball season and dance recital season. So like my day job is then becomes I have to be very careful, but like that almost becomes my part-time job because I have two boys that play baseball, and my daughter's dance recitals, and it's awesome. And I thought about the other day, it's like, they're only going to be 13, 11, and 9 once, and so I make every attempt to work and deliver for my clients, for the conference, on the hours that I can, whether it's really early in the morning and then up to mid afternoon, and then go be dad, and then if I have to, pay the price, work a little bit at night. But so that's been a priority, and the other priority is obviously, working on putting together our marketing conference, which will be back this year in 2022. I know the website says August, but it'll be a little bit later than that. And we could have done it last year, but there's still a lot of lingering effects of COVID, and we just didn't want to kind of play with that dark cloud over our heads. So we took a 2-year hiatus. We've had some great sponsors that have stuck by us, and some new sponsors signing on, which is really exciting. And then I don't say that I run an agency per se in the traditional model, or maybe the traditional model in this day and age. But I do carry clients, and I help them with their lead gen strategy and their business growth. And I come in and act primarily as a director of marketing, chief head of marketing for those businesses. And I'm not a title guy, but I'm carrying about 15 clients right now. About half of those, we handle all of their marketing for them. And again, I'm hyper focused on lead gen and business growth. And there's a lot of different industries that they are. And then some of those are more project based type of things, Google AdWords, whatever. And so that's really keeping me busy.
I
Um,
bet I mean,
yeah,
it is 15 doesn't sound like it's a lot maybe when some people think of an agency, right? But with you and I, that's a lot. You're juggling a lot of moving parts with
yeah,
one.
it's
I mean, and when you're doing everything for them. So that's you
yeah.
have a lot on your plate.
My model's never been like to have a web developer sitting on staff that I have to pay a salary to, and then I have to go out and sell websites.
Mhm.
Um, I've never had a model where I want the Google ad certified person managing AdWords accounts, and the only way I could pay them is by going to sell AdWords accounts. And this isn't being disparaging to other models, because they all work. But I just don't want to have to sell a video service if a client doesn't need it, just because I got to pay the videographer, or
Right.
something with web development. So I've had a freelance model for a decade now, where I have actually one person with me full time in account management. And then I have a deep bench of people that have done work for me over the years, whether it's web development. My Marcom person is a freelance person, so they're project based. Same thing with web developers. Um, Currently working on actually some a social media person. I think full time it's probably necessary at this point, or at least a freelancer that I can contract with. But that helps to keep the costs down, and helps to keep me sane and put a little scale in the wheel. Right.
I feel yeah. I think that the keep me sane part is
Yeah.
is really the key because I know I've got 3 different people that are working for me right now, and they're all part-time, but it works great with their schedule, so it covers everything. And yeah, you really do count on them. Like, they keep me sane. They
Ti-
get things done so I can focus on the other stuff, like, the where they handle what they can handle and I do what I need to do, and it's just a nice
I've
balance.
tried to get better, and I believe that I am getting better over the past couple 2 3 years, um, of really delegating, and it's okay. I've learned to be like, it's okay to free my life up to enjoy my life, for what I've built. And I think the grind and hustle mentality is something that you see on the internet, and so there's nothing wrong with scaling, having some people around so then you can enjoy your life. You're not a slave to your business, because even though they're like, oh, it's a good problem to have, being too busy, it gets miserable. At least from my perspective, and it's like it's the only thing that, like, I'm like, wow, I'm doing all this work, and where do I get to enjoy 5 minutes of my the fruits of my labor?
Right. Right. I mean, and that's where you get to kind of be selective when you're done working, or you have to cap it, right, of what you can't handle, and you can refer it to somebody else when you get to that point. I've always been, especially, it's kind of changed for me. When my boys were younger, yeah, I was like you 100% because they were my priority. Like, of course, work was important too, and I loved what I do, but I didn't wanna miss those moments. But now that I'm an empty nester, I've got a lot more time to, to work on
What's
my
great about
business.
that
So I
empty nester
appreciate.
statement
Huh?
What's great about the empty nester statement is, like, we're like the same age, and I have a 4-year-old.
I just became a grandma, a Gigi, a couple weeks ago. May 31st, I became a Gigi.
That's
So,
great. Congratulations.
yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, I don't think most people do. I didn't put it on Facebook or announce
Sure.
it or do anything like that. So, it's really just been, my family and close friends who know. But yeah, so now I'm officially old. Like, that's what makes you that's when you cross over and you're old. So, yeah, and you have a
Yeah, that's good.
4-year-old. That's funny. But anyhow, you came on today because we were going to talk about influence marketing. And we are going to talk
Yep.
about influencers, and I know you and I have shared this gripe before, but everybody thinks that they're an influencer. There's so many, it's like this new generation coming up that they are all influencers, and that's what they strive to be, whether it's on TikTok or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. They're it, everybody's an influencer. But what is an influencer? Let's just break that down real quick. What's an influencer?
Uh, so I don't even know. So I think that the one thing that I could kind of maybe preface this with is that I think that there's a lot of industry definitions and things that you'll see out there, and then you'll see people like regurgitating that information on the internet. And it's like, that's great. You just took a quote from this person, or you took a quote from this, social media examiner, or what, and you're pawning that off as like, what a social media influencer is. So look, they're to me, in my eyes, and this isn't as easy as getting to the point, but we've always had people that have had influence, right? Back in the 60s, early 70s, when Joe Namath was signed to start doing a ton of advertising on Madison Avenue. He became a pitch man. And we see, obviously, people of celebrity status endorsing products along the way. They
Yeah.
have influence because they have a following. They have people that buy in and want to be like them, and obviously that was attractive to people that wanted to get eyes to that. And as we graduate into 2022, because of the internet democratizing our ability to be able to grow an audience and have an audience and then speak to a group of people in a lot of different ways, we suddenly became those pitch people, um, and the ability to kind of influence some buying decisions, right? So so people that push content wherever it is, blog, podcast, Facebook Live, Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, grow an audience, and then they have an ability to be able to talk to that audience. So it becomes the Content Inc. model. Joe Pulizzi keynoted DOYO Live twice. Grow an audience on a subject matter that you're passionate, you're an expert about, and as you grow that audience and have an audience, then at that point can begin to monetize that audience in some capacity, whether you're going to sell it something, host a conference, maybe you're going to go out to sponsorship, and now you're going to endorse products within your TikTok, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And they have the ability to be able to influence people into making buying decisions.
I think that last statement is really the key. They have the ability to influence people. And you don't, in my opinion, you don't need a huge millions of followers to be an influencer. Of course, the ones who have the millions of followers, they're going to make more money if they're an influencer. But those are the ones that we think about, right? We think of the Kardashians, we think of like those big influencers. But you can
think
also
about it like this. And you're exactly right. So think about it like this too. So yeah, there's the Kardashians of the world that, the bigger the audience, the bigger the reach, the bigger the engagement, the bigger the price tag is going to come along with that.
yeah.
The industry kind of defines, micro influencer, right? So I don't know, like statistically, was it 1,000 to 10,000 people a follower on Instagram or things like that? I have some of my own. We can get into this in a few, but how we've implemented some local influencer programs, identified them, and what the audience size and engagement rate looks like. But you're right, like our email list at DOYO Live is 10,000, and that's grown DOYO Live into from a conference perspective, a low six-figure business. And you don't need it would be great if we had 100,000 people on our email list.
Right.
That would include sponsorship dollars. But a 10,000 person email list, we do pretty good with it.
And I agree. And it's, can you influence other people into buying a product? And whether it is the 10,000, you can even have 1,000 followers on Instagram and just, be a very small local influencer, which can be powerful too. But I think a lot of times people think of, well, I want to be an influencer. I want these big gigs. I want a career out of being an influencer. Then they need to grow their business. They need to grow their following base, not so much the business,
Sure.
their followers. And like you said, put out really good content that their followers are interested in paying attention to.
So let me tell a quick backstory here. Back in 2015, we got the idea to launch the marketing conference. And if you're around long enough in marketing and social media marketing, like Deanna and I mean, we were both marketing businesses at the inception of Facebook. So when you think about that, it's like a 20-year, overnight Facebook marketing thing, right? And so I made a decision before influencer marketing was dubbed influencer marketing, that when we were going to put on this marketing conference, there was a couple of different ways that we were going to go after getting people to sign up to come to the event. One of those ways, when I was starting my business, I would get together with people for coffee, and we would talk marketing. They were super interested. They'd never sign. And so after that 2-hour lunch date or coffee date, I would go back to them and say to every one of them, like, hey, we had coffee. You seem really interested in marketing. I'm putting on this marketing conference. You should come to the event. The other way that we did it, Facebook ads. And then the third way was that when we picked our speakers, Yeah, I went to a lot of people like Deanna and some other people that like I just saw them out there on the internet. And then some people I knew, and I said, "Hey, look, would you speak at the conference? We'll figure out the topic." In my head, every person that signed on to speak, I felt was good for 10 to sell 10 tickets, right? You had
Mhm.
influence over 10 people. Like I didn't know like, oh, this is influencer marketing. I was just like, I knew the way that the internet worked. I knew the way social media worked, and I figured I was buying your audience by having you come speak at an event, and we'll put you on display and market you too, and everybody wins. But we sold. So I was like, so every person, we have 15 speakers. The math's simple. We should sell 150 tickets through those people alone. And, we ended up selling out the venue. But that's been the mentality the entire time in how we implemented, an influencer with our speaker program. Um, and then we implemented an actual influencer program, which I can get into in a second, where they were not speakers. But that was the first onset that I had going back that far to implement a program to rely on others to help me gain the influence.
So what did you look for in an influencer? What to you meant that what did you see that told you that they may be able to influence people to your conference?
So I think it's the same thing then as the same thing now. Um, and that is, what what do they look like out there in the internet world and in person? Are they somebody that I have respect for? Are they interesting? Are they dynamic? They know their shit. Like those are some of the things that I was looking for then, and I still kind of look for now when it comes to kind of a speaker that's going to go and talk. And um, are they dynamic? And then what's their social media following look like? Are they the real deal or are they not the real deal? Like, do they have a podcast? Do they have an Instagram page? How big is it? Are they getting likes, shares, and comments? And so those are some of the things that I'm evaluating from a speaker perspective. Because as we grew as an organization, got more mature, we started to require our speakers then to really embrace the content of being a part of our content, sharing, liking, commenting, so forth and so on. So we put different parameters in there. Early on, I had somebody come to me in 2016 and say, um, I would gladly put you in my Instagram for free, or no, I put you in my Instagram to basically help you promote the conference if you give me a ticket. And so we said, I was like, yeah, why not? Like that makes complete sense.
Yeah, right?
So I kind of kept an eye on the person. They kind of posted from time to time. Um, we put no metrics in place to see whether or not they could drive the needle at all. We just like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
sure, like post about us. And I don't think that they did bumpkins to like drive any business our way. Um, so we got a little smarter in years 2, 3 to 4. We implemented our influencer program, became maybe I think the ambassador program, then maybe it became the influencer because I don't even know if the term was in vogue yet. So we evaluated some people that what their social media following looked like on whatever platform they felt that they were really awesome and amazing at, because that's what a lot of influencers will tell you is how awesome and amazing they are at that.
Yes.
Try to narrow down the demographics, try to narrow down the geography, because a micro influencer is generally going to be either very niche in their field, like right, they like vintage music, and this vintage music person has 5,000 followers on Instagram, or they're going to be very geographically based. And so that we're looking for more of the geo-based people. We used a couple tools. You can just go out there and Google like Somo, things like that, that will give you some idea of what the followings look like. Or you just hashtag like Orlando or hashtag Youngstown, and you'll see people, and you can start going through a scroll on a feed on Instagram and wherever and see like what their followings look like. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of work.
Yeah.
So then we started to put down um, affiliate link that you could use, and that affiliate link would get you paid like $25 or $50 a ticket. And what we ended up finding in that period is that we really didn't have anybody sell really any tickets, even even our speakers. Like Deanna, I think like maybe you sold a couple. And what I identified at that point was people were using the link to go check out what DOYO was. Then they would go to another portion of the website, and when they came back to purchase, you couldn't get credit for that, right?
Oh,
So we had a hard time tracking the conversion of all that. Um,
interesting.
so then we said we would use a promo code. So you would get a promo code, and that promo code would then um, give you direct buying indication that somebody used your promo code in order to purchase. But I've had all kinds of people. I'm so amazing at TikTok. I'm so amazing. So here's what we said to that. If you sell 5 tickets through your promo code, at that point you get your free ticket, and then for every ticket you sell beyond that, you will end up getting $50. We had nobody take us up on that because nobody wanted to sign up for the accountability factor at all.
Interesting. Interesting. I remember that with the promo code. I do find it interesting because and I have no idea how many people came because of me or not because of me. What I do remember is how many people would reach out to me after the fact to say, "Hey, I got my ticket. I'm coming. I'm coming." Now, I'm not going to say that that was only because of me because there were a lot of great speakers, local speakers, right? So a lot of the names that you would have, and not only local, but people knew the names. It was good content. It was
Sure.
a good uh conference, right? But I that's what I remember is after the fact people would tell me, "Hey, I'm coming to see you. I got my ticket." I'm like, "Cool."
Right.
Like, and that's really, I don't care if I got credit for anything or not, but that was, I wanted people there. I wanted them to show up and to hear me speak. And it was a really cool thing when they would reach out and say, "I'm coming and I can't wait to hear you speak," regardless of how they heard about the conference. That was pretty cool to experience. Now,
Being regional by design, and then like yourself and many others that live in this community um, speak at some really big prestigious conferences. Like so, and that kind of is a no brainer. But then it's trying to pick out the diamonds in the rough that don't have any speaking experience. Um, but again, it comes back down to us is like kind of the buy-in to the communal thing. And like you've been invited back every year. It's because I respect what you do, and because I recognize like what you just said. Like we struggle with some of the direct conversion on like and frankly, at the end of the day, like I've had stories of people saying like over the 4 year period they saw things 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways with referrals, and then it was a postcard is the reason why they bought a ticket. So
right.
that if you were some of the people that I deal with on a daily basis, well then we should be using postcards as our marketing strategy because that's where that was the last point of conversion. Um, but there's no doubt, like people like yourself and a lot of the other speakers have converted people. Sometimes it's difficult to get the credit, but getting back to like the influencer strategy, and the one that we're really talking about is somebody coming to you and saying, "Hey, like, um, um, I have a big TikTok following, I have a big Instagram following, and I want to get paid to do what I do." You have to evaluate like what's the following look like, what's the engagement rate look like, maybe what are some of the other things that have they done? Is it represent your brand? Like, right? Like, am I comfortable with affiliating my brand with some of the things that may or may not go on? And then how are you going to track it? Like, are you comfortable with possibly just the awareness play of saying, I'm going to be able to grab their audience, or are you looking for more followers to your channels? I think that conversion on purchases is a really big ask um, for anyone. Like, I think that like I think that that's a challenge,
Yeah.
frankly. Yeah.
I would agree with you on that. And I think from a business end, I think coming up with some sort of an affiliate link is important. If you are going to work with an influencer, a lot of times, if a lot of times a business, and you and I are a little bit outside of this because you've got the conference, right? But most people who are trying to be influencers, at least the ones that I know and I see, they're more in the fashion and the beauty industry. They want that's my feed. That's that's the algorithm that speaks to me, right? Of what I see.
Who doesn't want makeup and handbags, right?
Right? So I mean, and like one Britta, I know she Britta, who is a past client of mine, who is an awesome young lady who teaches yoga, but she actually got a partnership with a yoga mat company. So she will always use their yoga mat in her videos, and she'll promote it and she talks about it. So sometimes it's product based. It's one product that a company will give to an influencer, or what they believe is an influencer, to see how they do with it, right? So they may send you a free sample or a makeup palette and let you promote that. But I think as a business owner, how do you track that? And I think what you mentioned earlier with like an affiliate link of some sort, and maybe extend the cookies so that it keeps it where if they do come back, 10 days later, then it still recognizes that that was the original way they got there. Um, but that's what I think. I think that's probably the best route to take it is through an affiliate.
Um,
Do you have to
I
get
think
that
it's.
call,
I think
Dennis,
that
while you're on talking to me live? No, I'm kidding.
somebody's running the house. So, hey Siri, put on my do not call. Um,
I'm teasing you too.
I'm
I mean,
not. I
feel free
forgot
to
to put
take your call. It's okay.
airplane mode. Um, I think the promo code is probably the safest bet. Like I think that like if like this year, we'll launch. I don't know what I'm doing with tickets yet, so we'll get. But if I do come back to an affiliate or a influencer program, even a speaker or just people out there that think that they could sell tickets, like I'll just say like Deanna 2022 or Deanna DOYO, and that's your promo code, and you're getting money off to buy a ticket, and then we'll give credit back that way. We have so it's interesting. I put out an ad, not an ad. I put out an ask on Facebook and LinkedIn, um, entry level social media position, kind of internship, if you want to call it an internship. I don't want to fill out the paperwork, but a part time social media job. And I got like lit up on Facebook in a good way. Except for a couple people thought it was a scam, and I was like, "This isn't a scam. Like, this is a real business."
A scam.
So I copy and pasted the job description. Here's what we need. So I have a client, Golden Star Theaters, and we mainly are really pushing their Austin Town location. Great, it's a great movie theater, luxury recliner, seats, adult beverages, really a good, fun
Oh,
place to go.
fun. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
So we recognized a long time ago. Number one, we wanted to implement an influencer program, a true influencer program. Number two is that we need more of the audience buy-in that's going there and tap into them and their social media influence. Right? We need their audiences,
Yeah.
but people aren't doing it on their own. So I said, look, we need to put somebody on premise 4 to 8 hours a week. And the only thing they're going to do is they're going to go out there and do sidewalk interviews, at the movie theater. We'll give them 3 questions that they can quickly record, and in 2 days a week, 3 to 7, their busiest times, and then they can just upload those 30-second, 1-minute videos into a box folder, and we'll do the rest. But you
Right.
got to go out there and you got to right.
Sounds
Boom!
fun.
I'm getting boom, boom. I want to do social media. I want to do social media. I want to do social media. I was like, so here's the job description. You're gonna, and I would say that half of them are like, oh no, social media means I sit in my house and I don't even know what they think they do. And I think the other half of them are like, like I went and looked at their social media profiles, and the one person had a ton of selfies of themselves, right? And I just think that, like, if I go back and say I'm looking for a social media influencer and change the narrative of the job posting from changing it from like sounding like it's 1995 again, you know, to something cool like, hey, you're going to be a part of the equation. You're going to, I think that that would probably get more. But every one of them, like when they got the job description, was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go and interview people. I want to use my TikTok, and it's like
They want to use their own
right.
platform.
They
Is what
want to use their own. They want to. I think that they all think like that's not exactly what I had in mind. Ooh, that doesn't sound like fun. I got to go talk to people. It's like right. They have to be someplace outside of their own house.
Oh, so they were thinking their own time, their own schedule on their platform. That's
Yeah, and I'm like,
interesting.
no, we need content, right? And then
That's
the
interesting.
other thing that we did with the movie theater, kind of unsuccessfully to this point, but we're still not. I'm still working on it. Is movie theater tickets in exchange for TikTok influence. I really feel bullish on the fact that the movie theater um, is really that audience, or at least we could tap into a segment of that audience through TikTok.
Yeah.
And so finding some teens or finding some early 20s or, yeah, I don't care who it is, whatever, dance moms that are willing to go to the movie theater and TikTok their experience and put it out there to get the movie theater more exposure, because that's the biggest problem that they have. Actually, I don't even think that's the biggest problem they have right now, because the amount of web traffic they get is insane. But yeah, like
You know
I
who
think
I'm
that just
thinking
more
of
people.
actually for that? I mean, as far as like a possible influencer, I think of Art Bird, who he's all about movies. He's always talking about movies. He's got a
Right.
following. I don't know if he could actually be there filming because he does work at YSU, but that's his jam is movies
Yeah, he
and
does a great
theater.
job on interviews too. Like he
He
interviewed me
does.
early on for a podcast. He's good at it.
He's very good, and that's when you're thinking about movies, I'm like, yeah, because he's always dissecting the movies and talking about them, and
And
he
then,
seems to have a loyal
and then
following. Small, local, but good.
and then the third concept that we came up with is similar to DOYO Live or Carbon Silk here and the Tuesday Talk, is they have like a seating lounge. And so that's a great opportunity to go set up a podcast or live studio, one day a week and do a live from there. It doesn't have to be about movies. It's just from there, right? So you're
Right.
talking about it. But the fact of the matter is this: we do we've both done some form of a podcast, live podcast, for the better part of 4 or 5 years now, maybe longer. Like, I mean, right?
Yeah, I think you might
And
be
so
right.
I didn't really get into see much pre-promotion for this, but typically, like again, like you have me on, right? I have as silly as it sounds, like I have an audience, I have a community that I can go and grab and say, hey, check out this person's, but I'm going to be on it, right?
Yeah.
And you have people on not with the intent, I don't think, to gain views, but I do think that there's some people. I don't know. Like I really look for like people that I want to interview and that are going to be interesting, or else I just don't want to waste my time anymore with it. But I do have some sense of like, hey, like they have a pretty good following, and that's going to be valuable to their following if we have them on and we talk about whatever we talk about. Some people are going to get really excited to see them,
Yeah.
in an environment that they feel comfortable talking in, and so that's a form of influencer marketing that's not as sexy as the TikTok, but yet is it probably not by classic definition, but you're grabbing an audience, right?
Absolutely. Yes. No, it definitely is. I mean, because it's, I'm going live right now, but where I get most of the views are after the fact on YouTube.
Sure.
Like, and they go back and they watch it. Well, I'm really trying to grow the YouTube channel a little bit more, but people are starting to go there because there is a library of a ton of information on digital marketing, even all the old stuff. I mean, all the interviews. And I look for value. Who can bring value to my target audience when it comes to marketing or starting your own business and growing a business? So that's who I'm looking for. But yeah, so it is a form of influence marketing, but I also think you said something earlier, and that you went to somebody's page and it was all their selfies. Now, I think you were talking about them wanting to do social media and it was only about them. But I will say that a lot of the influencers, if again, on my algorithm, right, which is beauty or health or fashion or something like that, they do post a ton of selfies. They're consistent, and but they will tag other businesses. They will tag the beauty product. They will tag the fashion designer. They will tag, like, the yoga mat. All those, that one's, I believe a paid ad. I don't want to speak out of line, but uh, but they'll tag all these industries as they're showing whatever it is, the products that they're using. And they've gotten some traction with that. They've built an audience. Some of them have got a product. Some actually got a paid influencer. But the one that I know who's on TikTok who does makeup, oh my goodness, I can't remember if maybe like 30,000 followers. God, I hope I'm not really undershooting that for her. But she does now have somebody who pays her to use their makeup in her TikToks, which is pretty cool. But it's consistency, and it's doing it over and over. And those industries, they are a lot of selfies. Ours, not so much. Like,
So, it's funny that you say this, right? So first of all, like I can increase the worth of I can very quickly put $100 into $100 to $500 a month into Facebook or Instagram advertising, and basically leverage that against the amount of impressions that I deliver, and go out from a sponsorship perspective and be like I could turn my $500 monthly investment into Facebook or Instagram advertising into a $7, $8, $10,000 sponsorship overnight.
hmm
Pretty simple. Um, because right, you grow your likes, you grow your following, you grow your impressions, and now you're suddenly saying that.
yes.
Um, so that's one thought. Selfies. The owner of Susie's Hot Dogs and I got together about 3-4 years ago, and I don't know, we were just BSing, and he's like, "You want to get He's like, "You want to get a lot of likes on Instagram?" And I was like, "I don't know, like, do I?"
I can't even imagine what he told you
And
to
he's
do.
like, "Hey, he's like, all you need to do is go around and take selfies of yourself with people that you run into every day." He's
Yeah.
like, "And that's all anybody gives a crap about." And I was like, "No, Christian, they want like good, valuable content. They want." So I was like, so I made it a point for like the next 3 or 6 months, like everybody I ran in, I was like, "Hey," and he was right.
Yeah,
He
he
was
is
right.
right. He's
Like
right. That's what they want to see. They like selfies. Selfies work. People like to see other people's faces. And if we're with somebody, they get excited that they're in that picture too. So they may share it or comment, "Hey, it was great seeing you," right?
I mean, literally, like you put all this work into this podcast and doing this every week, and like I think you could just do like the selfie of the day, and every day post a selfie at like 11 a.m. and just like,
You know what?
selfie of the day. Where's Dennis at 11 o'clock?
You know what? I think that's a great challenge, a 30-day challenge that I'm going to challenge anybody who's watching on whatever day you're watching. I'm going to do it. A 30-day challenge of a selfie a day.
But you all have to tag at DOYO Live every post. because I want your influence.
There you go. There you go. I think that would be a lot of fun. That'd be a fun challenge, right? Tag us both in it. Just let us know like that you're doing the challenge. I think it'd be kind of fun just to see. And I agree. I think
Maybe
he's
it's got to
absolutely right.
be the pinnacle of your day.
Yeah. So no like rolling out of bed with my hair's like all all over the place. Pre-coffee. Although you know what? People like that too. The authentic, like I woke up like this.
If I did my day every day at 6 o'clock, you'd be like, it's Groundhog Day. Like they'd be like, same thing
Yeah.
you did
I can see
yesterday.
doing that. That would be a lot of fun. I'm gonna
Okay.
do that. I'm gonna do that.
Um,
You know, I used to do more selfies and I've gotten away from it.
yeah, because they
I
just feel
think
so
we're just
narcissistic.
like we've been in this game for so long. It's like
I just feel so narcissistic about it. Like,
yeah.
and what's really weird is this. And I don't want to. I want to get into talking to like, because I think it's valuable. Of like, how do you? I think you have to talk about how do you pay, and is there a
Yeah.
contractual agreement in there? And this kind of comes back down to even influencer marketing. It's like I've changed courses. So one time it was like, hey, I really want to build this. Oh,
Good morning.
you say hi, buddy.
I'm sorry. Oh, we got somebody else on the show.
Leo's here. He's 4. He's got a
Leo
ton of influence.
is so big. He got so big. I love watching all the pictures of him. Now he
Yeah.
gets selfies. There's pictures of him all over your social media. Hi, Leo.
What do you want for breakfast?
Um, donut.
He wants a donut.
That's
And actually, not just any donut. What kind of donut you want?
One. Quack, quack, quacky. Ducky donut.
There we go.
Dunkin'
New
Donuts.
spokesperson for Dunkin' Donuts. All right, get out of here, bud.
So cute.
So,
Was that just an influencer moment?
influencer moment. Like anybody want
Promoting Dunkin'.
my kids with their mountain biking. I was like, dude, like you could really like blow this up. Like you can document. There's not a lot of kids that mountain bike. Um, we take some
Not
pretty
in
epic
Ohio.
trips, right? Yeah, like right. We take some epic trips. I'm feeling like a bike manufacturer along with and it just goes beyond and beyond, beyond, beyond. But like started to build this audience, bring value. And then like as like on my own personal level, I was like, yeah, you know what? Here's what I want to do. Here's what I do. Here's what I do. And I realized like I don't want those speaker engagements that are going to pull me away, from the things that matter most, so like being around my family all the time. Like I just don't. So I was like, what's the real deal? What's the real purpose? And then what's really weird is that um, whether it's referral, whether it's reputation, or being around a decade, or pushing enough content that's out there, that the client work has got to the point where it's been so significant, and I feel at a moment where maybe we pulled back a little bit on some of the social media and the live podcasting, right? um, we started the year really, really strong, and kind of look at this year as a season 1, January to April, where we did a live podcast, our live podcast every Friday. And then spring break hit, and now we're just kind of ramping back up, which I think I'm going to just call it season 2. So I don't know if that effort in the first quarter of the year really kind of came all together or whatnot. But I guess the point is this: it's like, if you're going to be an influencer, first of all, you have to figure out how much you think you can charge,
Mhm.
right? What is it that you want? Do you want product? Do you want service? Are you willing to have a sponsor or a person kind of, what's that going to look like to you? Are they going to dictate what you can say and what you can do? because at that point you're kind of hamstrung to that yoga mat, or maybe, I don't know, how do you talk about it? The way that we have gone about, I guess, this influencer thing is that we look at DOYO Live as a media company that draws a lot of attraction across all of our social media platforms, including our email list. And there is influence behind that, not in the traditional one-on-one sense, but as a business. So we monetize through ticket sales and sponsorship.
Yeah.
We put our own number on it and then explain the value of the number, as opposed to, hey, we're going to pay, what are you charging, or how much per post?
But do you think like, if I'm interested in being an influencer and I have, I've got a solid following of people who know, like, and trust me, right? Do you think it makes sense is it possible to get somebody to pay me to talk about their brand, or is there a step in between? Like maybe instead of actually paying me in cash, allowing me to, a free ticket to the movie or something, right? Or a free ticket to your conference, or, an overnight stay at a hotel. And, I want to go ahead and answer that. And then I've got one thing I want to say about influencers that I just saw recently. That is,
So like, I've tried to reach out to a couple bike manufacturers, and it's the follow through and the execution that are lacking on my part. But I do document a lot of our mountain biking trips and our mountain biking excursions all the time. And I think, and I'm biased, but like, okay, you can go to the mountain biking meccas of the world, but the mountain biking communities in Ohio, I've been riding for 20 years, is fairly small. And then to boot, like, I've got this family of, two, and soon to be Paulina, 3 kids that are actively riding all the time. Like, legit, Michael just got a brand new, mountain bike that he's cutting grass to pay me back for that purchase. But it's a big boy mountain bike.
yeah.
I mean, it's the real deal. And so I'm like, who wouldn't buy into, like, what bike manufacturer wouldn't want me on their bike as I'm documenting taking my kids around mountain biking, right? And I would do that for the exchange of a product in a heartbeat.
Right.
And it's probably out there. I just haven't executed on it the right way. I had a guy on my show in the spring. His son's on our little league team, Mike Mihas, and Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. His Facebook page is amazing. Some people find it a little bit offensive. I find it to be hilarious.
That right there sums up the world today.
I mean, so he has like 250,000 followers on his Facebook page.
Oh, wow.
He's been offered, like, he told me in the interview, he's like, I've been offered companies in jiu-jitsu that he would, clothing manufacturers have all offered to buy the page, to sponsor the page, to do a lot of things. Like, they approached him because it's gotten to the point where niche jiu-jitsu, he has a following, he has influence. They came and started to offer him, right?
Wow.
I think that if you are going after a clothing manufacturer, a makeup manufacturer, or whatever that is, I think unless you've built, I think you got to be purposeful in that action.
Yes. I agree with you. I think that's the key right there. It's just,
It's
well,
sales.
you said it earlier, right? Know what your goal is, what you want.
It's prospecting 101. So
Right.
like, and nobody wants to do that, by the way. Nobody wants to get their hands dirty. Like, I probably need to lean more into sales material than I do marketing material. But if you really want to go connect with then I think this is probably 49 minutes in. You really want to connect with a makeup manufacturer. I go to LinkedIn and I search the company and I find the heads of product marketing, and I find the underlings as well. And I invite them to join my network, and I do nothing with it for a month to 3 months. I go to Instagram. I follow them, and I start liking and commenting on their posts. Um, and then I start to weave in content that revolves around some makeup, and as it relates to you and your day and your business. I don't know, like, do you need to see one more application video? I don't know, but like, I'm like
Yes.
you, Deanna, right?
Yes.
So busy entrepreneur, like, so maybe that's your jam, is like, hey, how does a girl still look good? Busy entrepreneur, and here's how I get ready for my day. Let me share this with you. Oh, by the way, my sealer is amazing, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be very purposeful. Like if I was really serious about getting an endorsement by Specialized, that's exactly what I would do.
I think that's great advice. I think that's really good advice. I do want to share something that being close to Disney, of course, that shows up in my TikTok algorithm all the time, right? And there was somebody who, and this is about for influencers to be smart about what they're showing and what they're doing on their page. There was a girl on TikTok who she used to work at Disney, and she did one of those splits where it showed an influencer showing her influencers or showing her audience where the back door is for cast members only. And you see that a lot. Like I see that a lot on TikTok because they're always showing like all the different behind the scenes stuff at Disney. And this ex Disney employee said, please stop doing that because, first off, it's a safety reason. Now you're putting all these Disney's employees are getting in trouble for things that they can't control because now these influencers are showing all the secret passageways, right? And all the behind the scenes stuff. And now people are going there to look for it. And these innocent employees have more BS to deal with because these influencers are being, in my opinion, irresponsible. Like there's one thing of showing behind the scenes, but
Are they still employed or are they not employed?
this particular girl is not an employee anymore, but she was just sharing this is what happens when you do that because innocent employees, people who work at Disney right now, aside from doing their job, they also will get in trouble if somebody
Leo, quiet
goes
down.
through this. You weren't muted. If you thought you were muted. Just having a dad moment.
So, and this is where like people are like, how do you do it? It's like, because my house is always a circus. So I think one of the big misses, regardless of like whatever type of marketing you're doing, is not involving your employees as a part of your social media marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Whatever size your company is, multiply that times your social media army. A medium-sized healthcare IT company that I'm working with, a SaaS-based technology offering, and we know that LinkedIn's a very strong play for the brand. So I did a LinkedIn workshop probably about a month in to working with them, right? There's a lot of things that we had to implement, and LinkedIn strategy being one of them. And so we got like, I don't know how many employees there are total, but we got like 10 of the most active employees on a LinkedIn workshop. Here's, like some people needed help, some people didn't need help. And then from there, it was, okay, so now every week we have a post or two that comes out. And to that group, I take that link to that post and we're experimenting with the page and then the CEO and saying like, here's the post of the week. Make sure you share your point of view, right? Put your POV on it and share it and like it and get engaged with the content and really forcing that issue. And I think so many brands, especially in a buttoned up industry like healthcare IT, are afraid to have their people to be ambassadors for their brand.
I see it all the time.
Now
But
we're beyond.
but sometimes it's hard to get that team engaged because I've also seen where the owners or the marketing directors are telling employees like make sure that you do this and you engage with that and you comment and
It
the
is.
employees just don't. It's like a yeah, but then it doesn't happen. So I agree. I think it's really important, but sometimes it is a struggle for companies to get them to engage.
It is, and I think that it's as much external marketing as it is internal marketing, and
Mm.
being consistent internally. Where I'm going with that is that we were at a point in the pantheon history of like social media where it was like taboo to have your employees dabbling in social media, and now we've crossed over to like this. People were embracing it. The one thing from a parameter perspective is that every business has some secret sauce, right? So like, I want people to go out and post for DOYO Live. But there's also some internal conversations that we are having that at this particular time I don't necessarily think are public
Right.
conversations. And so I think that at Disney, it's a situation where you have all these Mouseketeers that are brand ambassadors that really obviously what more help does Disney need in marketing? But obviously that's great. But then when they start to go across those things where it's like the do not entry signs and then obviously you're crossing a company policy that um, it's just too bad that they can't figure out what's on limits and what's off limits because like that's exactly what like you kind of want to know. You want to kind of see that.
Well, I think the employees know. These are just
People.
random people who are influencers, whether they are or they're not, that are showing all these different places. Like they hang out at Disney, like, and then they're putting the employees. But you're right. Well, and then this girl shared that what they don't realize is that when they do this, they can be banned from Disney for life.
Is that all I got to do?
Pardon me?
Is that all I have to do?
I guess, yeah, that's it. That's it. Sorry, kids. Daddy's banned from Disney. We
Oh
can't go
my
this
God.
year.
Dream come true. We went to Disney in January of 21, and I make the joke that it's because we were trying to get COVID. We went on a plane. We went to Disney. That's another conversation for a whole nother time. My feelings towards Disney.
Yeah.
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 Um,
No, I get it.
but yeah, so the how is when if you want to become an influencer, I don't life gets much easier in anything that you do, but especially if like you're going to build an audience is what me as a brand is going to want to see in order to be able to want to pay you or give you something for free. So typically the best way to go about that is to be very narrowly focused on what that topic is going to be. If it's
Yeah.
cooking, be amazing at cooking, right? Do your cooking show,
Right.
do your cooking TikToks. If it's whatever, like be narrowly focused. Or you could do it, like I'm pretty wide. Like so I don't know if I thought this was a prestigious group. Then I fell off, and then I was back on it. But like, there's this group that was started by Facebook called the Facebook Executive Leadership Group. So I had to go.
Did you
So
get an email about it?
I got this email and a phone call from Facebook, and they did this interview with me, and it was like lengthy. It was like 20, 30 minutes of how did you build your business because of Facebook. And then we'll get back to you whether or not you get into the leadership network group.
Interesting.
I was like, is this for real? Like, so like it's maybe a group of like 3,000, 5,000 people across the entire United States.
Yeah.
And then after you get into the group, like they call you up in like every 6 months to make sure that you're getting something out of the group, be active, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And what they did was when they looked at my Instagram profile, he said, I really like what you've done here, that you share a great deal of what you do personally on a day-to-day basis. He's like, there's some business stuff, there's your kids stuff, there's your activity stuff. He's like, you're not just pushing like this one area. And he goes, and that works for you. And so that obviously could work for other people as well.
Absolutely.
You could be
You have to
Mr.
figure it out. Every
Right.
business needs to see what works for them.
Yeah. And I would say this too, like the fastest path to some of that opportunity at this point um, is TikTok. Like it's really remarkable how quickly you can go out. And I'm not saying that's not without a lot of hard work and creativity and being good at it. Um, but yeah, TikTok is a really good opportunity, I think, to do that.
Yeah. And I know their algorithm has changed quite a bit too over the past year, where it's actually a little bit harder, but it's still easier than the Facebook algorithm, of getting it out there. You can grow a lot quicker
So
on
it's
there.
interesting. I posted a video of somebody chopping down a tree at my house on TikTok and Instagram last year, and I think it went to Reels. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. It was only about a minute in length, so maybe it wasn't Reels. But TikTok, it got no engagement at all.
Mhm.
On Instagram, it was crazy. So this video got posted, and with like we were watching, we had like 10,000 likes, and it was just going like this,
Yeah.
right? And we were like, "Holy crap!" And it was by the minute, like it was literally like by the minute. And then within 15 minutes, it basically shut down. We got no more likes,
Wow.
right?
Not
Like,
even like 2 weeks down the road, nothing like re-popped up?
yeah, because
Interesting.
they chopped down a tree and the whole thing fell like this, and the guy runs out of the way that was working the winch, and like it was just really bizarre, like
It is.
how quickly some if the Facebooks, the Instagrams, they want to shut down a video, they can do it like really really quickly.
Yeah, they can. They control everything.
Right.
So, well, Dennis, thank you so much for hopping on today and for spending time with me. I know you got to get to Dunkin' to get Leo that donut. He came back in. He's like, "Is he done yet?" No, but
His diet, man. He lives off of Dunkin' Donuts and waffles. I mean,
God love him. That's great.
no,
That's awesome.
thank you, obviously, for having me on. I appreciate that, and so we'll get you an updated date of DOYO Live, and yeah, we're hoping we're going to be able to get you back to Youngstown for what'll be our 5th conference, and kind of go from there.
It would be awesome. Let me know that date so that I can share it and be an influencer to get people to attend.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Hey, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye bye.